I'll tell you one thing I do understand. Anthropomorphic talking bears.
Well, you do. And we're gonna get to the bears, Matt. I promised Matt. The only way Matt would do this episode would be if we talked about bears. And I said, Matt, I want you as my guest host this week. So yes, we will talk about bears for as long as we can talk about them.
Hello and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
And I'm Josh Wallen.
And do we have a very special episode for you? Grant, I don't know why I said that. So creepy. Oh,
the nerves, man. I get it.
The water's fine. Grant Kirkhope himself will be joining us in just a few minutes. We've got him on hold. Very rude, very unprofessional. But in the meantime, I have an important announcement to make. I haven't made this announcement on the Kongversation yet. DK Vine will be at MagFest, National Harbor, Maryland, on January 2nd. And we will be hosting a panel, 20 Years of DK Vine and Donkey Kong Universe Fandom, hosted by me and Cameron. So this will actually precede a live musical performance later that night by one David Wise. So this is big. This is going to be the first time we've ever done anything like this here at DK Vine. But you can attend if you're on the East Coast. If you're around the Maryland area, then be sure to get your tickets at magfest.org. That's MAGFEST, Music and Games Festival, in case you were wondering. But yeah, that should be interesting. I wish I could be there. To be clear, if you're wondering, I will not be there. But Josh will not be there. This has nothing to do with the Geek Critique. I didn't ask him to be a part of this, and quite frankly, I'm glad you're not going to be there because I want all the spotlights on me. But
that's understandable. I would probably just yell wrestling catchphrases the entire time.
And that's fine. I will probably be super drunk ahead of time. No, I'm just joking. Wink, wink. But yeah, a little nerve-wracking. Never done anything like this before. But hey, putting myself out there, I will probably fall flat on my face, and it will be recorded and put on YouTube later. So hey, terrific.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. I can give you some pointers for hosting a convention panel if you need some.
Oh, okay. I would actually appreciate that because I have no idea what I'm doing. I think I'm gonna do it like a TED Talks or like an Apple presentation, and I'm gonna do the politician thing where I keep my thumb down when I make a point. You know, and then I'll just one more thing, and then I'm gonna reveal a new device at the very end of it. I don't know. I have to come up with something. I'll just work on something in my workshop. We'll see what happens. But if you're a first-time listener to the Kongversation because you want to hear some Grant Kirkhope, then please check out dkvine.com. It's our website. It's been around for 20 years. Thank you for checking it out. Even though you haven't for the last 20 years. I'm not hurt by that. I'm fine. Better late than never, right? Be sure to also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, check out our YouTube channel, although we're not monetized right now because YouTube's algorithm demonetized us because they think we don't own our own podcast. I'm doing an eye roll right now. You can't hear that because my eyes aren't that noisy, but trust me.
I'll provide the sound effects.
Thank you, yeah. So, hey, if you want to raise a stink about that to the YouTubes, I would appreciate it. They're not listening to me. But hey, also, while you're on YouTube, be sure to check out the Geek Critiques channel as well. Josh, what's the Geek Critique?
Well, the Geek Critique is a series of sort of long-form video game analysis essays, and pertinent to this discussion, I've done an individual video for every single game in the Donkey Kong Country series. So
Barrel Maze?
Okay. A lot of the spin-off and cameo games, me and you actually did a video together a few years ago, just sort of covering all the spin-offs called the DK Wrap-Up.
Okay, I don't remember that because I was, again, super drunk.
Understandable, yeah.
Anyway, check that out on YouTube as well. And now, Our guest today got his start at Rare in 1996.
95.
95? Okay, well...
Oh no, Hyle!
Me. Oh no, my facts, they're all wrong. He played some instruments for Killer Instinct 2 and reworked David Wise's compositions for the Game Boy's Donkey Kong Land 2. And that's what he's basically known for. That is it. Well, according to Wikipedia, which anyone can edit and isn't a reliable resource, he also allegedly did the music for games like Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye 007, Donkey Kong 64, Banjo-Tooie, Grab by the Ghoulies, Viva Pinata, Trouble in Paradise, and Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Since leaving Rare, he's gone on to have a wildly prolific freelancing career, composing music for games like Fart Cat, Yooka-Laylee, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. To name just a few, because we could probably spend the entire hour just listing his game credits at this point. I'm assuming he hasn't slept at all in the past 25 years. And oh yeah, he's also the voice of characters like Mumbo Jumbo and, from 1999 through 2004, Donkey Kong. So we're probably taking him away from something very important and wasting his time. Here he is, the BAFTA-nominated composer himself and probably future knight, Grant Kirkhope.
Da, 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 da.
Grant, why the hell are you doing this show?
I don't know. You asked me to. I guess that's the main reason. I'm a very accommodating chap.
Yeah, but you should know better. Thank you for being here. In all sincerity, it is an honor to be graced by your presence, and I'm sure once we're done, you will never want to associate with us again.
That's quite possible.
Yes, usually the way these things go.
All right, so first question we got here. It has been about a year and a half since the announcement, and 3 months since it was all added to the game with the Banjo-Kazooie DLC. But does it still feel surreal to you, being the first Western composer to have new material in Super Smash Bros.?
I don't think that'll ever get tired on me. I think that I'll never, ever feel, like it's just one of those things. Like, that was so special. And to get asked to do it was, like, just amazing. I think... my son plays Super Smash Brothers with all his friends, and like it's really funny when you sort of see Banjo there and they're all playing it and hearing the music, with Spiral Mountain, like I'm never going to get used to that. That's one of those career things that you just kind of go. I'm never going to forget that time I spent writing that music for Mr. Sakurai, and it was just like crazy. Like I can't. It's hard to put into words. And then when they announced it at E3, it went just ballistic, that whole thing where my Twitter just blew up, people were crying and cheering, and I was crying watching it just like everybody else, because I hadn't seen the trailer, so they just said to me, write a piece, and all that, and then they said, oh, well, we think they might use it for the trailer now, we liked it. I said, oh, that's really nice, thinking that they might include it as one of a few pieces perhaps they played in the trailer, but they only used my music in the trailer, And it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And like, seeing the reaction from all around the world, people at the Nintendo store in New York, they're all just going crazy and seeing, Gerard Khalil, the completionist, burst into tears and, and all that stuff, I feel like it's just one big, massive ball of amazement that I don't think I'm ever going to get used to it. It's still, if I watch it now, it still sort of upset me, maybe make me cry a little bit because, it just seemed that the outpouring of emotion from all the Banjo fans was incredible. And when I went to E3 and, I went to talk to the Nintendo guys at the booth, and I sort of said, surely this is what it's like for all the characters. I said, well, not really. Some of the characters get well received, but Banjo went just crazy. And we kind of thought it might do, but not like this. So even they were surprised at how gigantic it was and how daft fans went over it, So... I think my head, when you ask me that kind of question, my head just kind of goes from topic to topic to topic because it was such a crazy thing. I'll never get used to that. It was amazing.
Yeah, you actually found out about Banjo-Kazooie being added to Smash Ultimate all the way back in January of this year. I believe Davide Soliani acted as the middleman between you and Nintendo to get you involved with the game. So how hard was keeping that a secret for 6 months? And keep in mind that not just like the fans, but like most of Rare and Playtonic, like the people who worked on the original games, didn't know about this either. You were like one of the few who knew about it. Yeah,
it was like super secret. Like only like Rare did it on a need-to-know basis. So Robin Beanland knew about it because he was involved in providing some of the music to Nintendo. But it was really on a need-to-know basis. Like very few people at Rare knew. I don't think anybody at Playtonic knew. And like it was just, like Davide said to me, Grant, Nintendo want to get hold of you, can I pass on your contact information? It's a bit like, are you crazy? Of course you can pass it on, like that. And he didn't know. They didn't tell him. They just said they wanted to talk to me. He didn't know what it was. And it took about a month for me to find out, really, because I had to sign the NDA document. It had to go from Japan to my agent, not Japan to Nintendo America to my agent to me and then back to Japan. And also my agent had to sign an NDA too, so she couldn't talk about it to anybody. So it was like, it took a long time for it to propagate through the system to get to me and then to finally find out what it was. And it was such a bland email that said, it said something like, we'd like your assistance on a piece of music between 2 minutes 30 and 3 minutes long on an existing IP. Are you interested? And that was all I got. I was like, yeah, I don't care what it is. I'll do it, So, and as I say, for a while, I thought it just can't be Banjo-Kazooie because, I thought it can't be Smash Brothers because I thought of that straight away. I thought because they never ever get Western guys to do it, they always get the Japanese people to do it because they're really good at it. Their remixes are fantastic when they do the remix stuff from other composers' music. So I thought they never even because Dave Wise didn't get asked to do the King K. Rool stuff, So I thought they're never going to ask me to do that, so it can't be that. So I thought maybe it's some kind of Rabbids related thing because of Mario Rabbids, perhaps. Not for a second. I mean, I did thought for a minute think it's going to be Smash, but then I thought no, it's not going to be that because they never asked me to do it. Why would they do it? They got lots of great composers over there. And then when they finally said to me it is Smash, I was like, oh my god, it's Banjo-Kazooie, it's Smash Brothers, And my son, heard me writing stuff and knew what I was doing, so he knew, but he knew. He didn't tell his friends at school, and neither did my daughter. Sometimes don't trust your kids, but they did keep the secret. Because I said to them, you just can't breathe the word of this to anybody because Nintendo would go mad if they knew if they go out anywhere because it's such a closely guarded secret, So, and it didn't leak, and it's funny those things normally do leak, but it didn't, So, yeah, mad. Oh, what's this? Let me. Someone just text me. So I'll just touch this guy. Hang on.
Oh, no problem.
Sorry. My neighbour wants to lift to pick his car up.
Your neighbor wants to know who the next fighter in Smash Brothers is.
That's right. Even I don't know that. Yes, go on. Yes, that was it. Yeah, so it's all crazy, mad, weird, and I didn't, who would have thought it? I had that thing where to be the first Western guy to do Mario, I think, and then the first Western guy to do Smash, probably. It was like, oh my god, why is it me? Why isn't it somebody?
Whereas for me, I'm more like who else could it be?
Well, there's tons of guys could do it. I mean, I just feel like I don't know, crazy.
Did you ever almost leak it yourself, getting completely drunk and accidentally almost spilling it to somebody you shouldn't have? Because that would be me. That would totally be me if I had this piece of bombshell information. I don't think I could keep it 5 minutes without having to tell somebody and then worrying for 6 months that person's going to tell. And then
I know, yeah, I did keep the secret. I mean, I think that I feel like Smash Brothers is such a guarded property, and they're so secretive about it, and especially dealing with Nintendo. I don't want to piss them off anyway. Because I've got a huge respect for Nintendo because of my early career, so I wouldn't want to get involved in that. So, it was hard. Sometimes you want to tell people, you really do, but I didn't, luckily.
Well, yeah, man, I just want to say, the crazy thing about Banjo being in Smash, and I think, it's surreal, one, because you never thought it would happen, but at the same time, you see it happening, and it just feels so much like it belongs, this is the way it always should have been. It's this weird juxtaposition, and, that just makes it even more surreal.
Yeah, and I kind of felt like Banjo would have been in there already.
Yeah.
Every other character from that kind of era, that could be in it, is in it, really. And I really felt like it's never going to happen. I just felt like, you'd have to deal with Rare and Microsoft and Nintendo, and I kind of felt like they're never going to come to an agreement about it. It's just not going to happen ever. So I'd kind of just written it off as a non-entity. It would never happen. So yeah, that is just one great big huge ball of amazement. It really is. There's so much stuff wrapped up in all that nonsense that I could talk about it for hours and not really talk about anything apart from this weird, just how weird it was.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So let's move on to something a little bit different. This question was asked on both the DK Vine Facebook and Twitter pages and submitted by readers Alexandra Elaine Phillips and Agent XY, among many others. The question is, do you have a favorite track that you've written in your career? And if so, what would it be?
I get asked that a lot, right? That's a hard one. Because, there's so much. I've been lucky that all the games that I worked on in my career, apart from one, I've really liked. So I've not got anything that I really hate, apart from maybe one. I've been super lucky that I've managed to work on good stuff. So I used to say things like Bedtime Story from Viva Pinata 2, Tranquil Hours from Viva Pinata 1, the Mid Boss Mayhem from Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which I really like writing that one. Stuff from Kings of Amalur, and Banjo-Kazooie without saying, obviously. I think the banjo, I'd probably say Freeze Easy Peak or maybe Monster Mansion. Something like that. Donkey Kong, probably Crystal Caves. Perfect Dark, probably Chicago Stealth. GoldenEye. That one that goes Dougie Dougie Do. Dougie Dougie Do. Is it the control? I forgot what it's called. 7 Eye, I can't remember what it's called. Whatever it's called, I can't remember the title of it. So I think that, I've been mega lucky to work on, on like Civilization and probably Fractal or Queon from Civilization 2, not the Rising Tide, the second, the DLC. What else I worked on? Something like that. Yeah, one of those.
What's your favorite track from Donkey Kong Land 2?
I didn't write any of that stuff. So.
Yeah, I know. But no, I get what you mean. It's a lot easier to think of like your favorite track from each individual project than just saying one overall, because it's just it's just that a lot of content.
Yeah, I couldn't choose one. I don't think it'd be too hard.
Well, then perhaps far more interesting is the question asked by reader Mysterious Time Caller on Twitter. And that's, what's your least favorite track of the ones you've made? And he says, I like them all. I have no dislikes, by the way. So way to cover your ass, Mysterious Time Caller.
I don't know. I don't think I've got a least favorite. I just don't think I have. I think I could find something in anything, all the stuff that I've written probably. It's because I wrote it right, Sometimes I'd think about GoldenEye. I wish I made the music a bit longer. Like all the tunes are about a minute. Because I just, I've only been at Rare a short time. I had no idea how long pieces of music is supposed to be. I didn't know you could spend hours in one of those levels running around. I didn't know that. I had no idea. So when I asked Martin Hollis, so Martin, how long does the music be? She said, yeah, about a minute. So I thought, he's a game director. So that's what I did. And I wish I'd done it 2 minutes, 3 minutes now. They're all a bit short for the loop round. So I guess I'd probably, that's because that was my first proper game kind of thing. I think I would have done that differently. But it would have been the same content, just longer. So nothing that I don't like about GoldenEye. You could argue about the sample quality, and it's a bit rough because there's such a little memory space and things like that. But not the actual compositional thing. I'm happy with how all the the harmony and the chords and the rest of it and the melody and stuff like that, and the arrangement of it all. So I haven't really got a least favorite. I can't think of one.
You like all your children equally. That's a very diplomatic answer to give.
Yeah, it's true though. I really can't think of one.
Yeah. One of my favorites of yours is the entire soundtrack to Grabbed by the Ghoulies. And I'm just a huge admirer of your work on that game because, and I'm sure you don't get a lot of people pestering you about this one, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. What fascinates me about that soundtrack is that you essentially had an extremely narrow focus. You had to make music that would fit this haunted house for the entire game. So when you get assignments like that, do you find that restrictive, or is it easier when you have some like bizarre parameters like that where, it has to be like spooky music for the entire game? I know what I'm working on, rather than like I have complete freedom to just do what I want.
I don't think I feel like that. I mean, I think most composers like haunted house, spooky things, right? I would think it's fun to write that kind of style. And back then I was, really obsessed with Danny Elfman, so it was, he writes that music really well. So for me, it's just a challenge to do it, and I decided on, I think I wrote something like 45 pieces of music that sort of play as you wander around the house. It's like, I call it my exploring Ghoulhaven music. And it just, when you boot up the game, the game puts those tracks into a play order and plays them in that order. So it's never the same twice. Well, I guess it could be, but it was 45 pieces of music. It would cycle round and round and round in different orders, And then there were specific boss pieces for each of the bosses and that kind of thing, So, it was fun to try and work out how to write lots and lots of spooky music, And it was a change after doing the banjo games. It was different, so, no, I enjoyed it. And I think, it was my first time using sort of better orchestral samples, because we had Giga Studio back then, so we had better samples then. It was the first time I'd used sort of things that sounded, much more properly orchestral than the kind of crappy little bits and pieces that I put inside the N64. So, it was, it's cool to get to use better stuff. But, no, I liked writing spooky music. I still like writing spooky music. So no, I didn't. I just, you just get. And also, I think when you're a staff composer, you just get stuck in, right? It's like a job. You just start at 9 in the morning, finish at 5, and then go home and start again the next day. So it was spooky time for those however many years I worked on that game, So yeah, it was completely fine.
Spooky time.
Spooky times.
That's what it was.
All right. This question was submitted on the DK Vine Twitter by Jinjo. Gonna guess that's probably not his real name. This is a big one, though. Grant, do you prefer Banjo-Kazooie or Tooie?
So I guess on two levels. I prefer Kazooie as a game to Tooie because it was smaller and more concise. I feel like when it came to Tooie, we all thought, make it twice the size, it's twice as good. And that wasn't really the case. It just became a bit of a bigger thing, not necessarily twice as good. So I feel like a lot of wandering around in Tooie that you maybe, I felt like Banjo-Kazooie was a much more concise game. But musically, I was more adventurous on Tooie. So Will Bryan, who was the lead programmer on Tooie, we realised we could stick 2 MIDI files together, which meant I'd double the tracks. So I had 32 tracks as opposed to 16. So when it came to all the channel fades that I like to do, things like Witchy World, I could keep the same piece going without restarting the MIDI file because I had 32 channels. So when you wandered into the spacey bit or the cowboy bit, nothing stopped. It just morphed to the next kind of, version of the tune and morphed back when you walked out of it. There was no restarting the melody or restarting the tune. So, but when it came to the reviews, nobody noticed it. No one mentioned it. And I was a bit like, I really tried super hard on that one and no one gave a shit about that. I was like, oh my God, So I was slightly disappointed. But if that had happened in Banjo 1, because when you wander around Grunty's Lair, sometimes the MIDI file will restart rather than just morph. And that's because we just ran out of channels. So I could have probably got around the entire Grunty's Lair on just one tune, constantly playing, just morphing. Could have been more channels, but we didn't do it in Banjo 1. So, so I think Banjo-Kazooie is a game, but Tooie, just a more technical level, I probably like it better because I had a bit more scope.
I think that's everybody's answer. By and large, I think even the people who didn't work on the game, that's just like, Kazooie, but also I respect Tooie more on a technical level. So that's, I don't think you should ruffle many feathers with that one. So this is a question from DK Vine patron Jacob Horn, and he wants to know, in the rare revealed for Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise, you revealed you loved working on that game in particular and wept to the orchestra when work on it ended. Why did the soundtrack for that game appeal to you so much and resonate with you in particular?
I feel like on Viva Pinata 1, I was kind of feeling my way. And then when you got to Viva Pinata 2, I was like, I didn't write that much more for that game. It was maybe another 8 to 10 pieces or something like that. But I felt like, it was my first time using live orchestra on Viva Pinata 1, so I knew what was about by Viva Pinata 2. And I was doing nuts and bolts at the same time. It just, I feel like I really poured my heart into Viva Pinata 2, because I knew I was going to be leaving right at that point. I think I probably had my resignation by that point, around about that time. Maybe I feel like I must have handed in my resignation March, April time, I think, or maybe slightly before that. Or maybe slightly after. It was round about that time because I knew I was going to leave. I maybe hadn't handed it in yet, but it was round. I might have done. I'm not sure. So it was super sad. So when it came to recording that bedtime story piece, that was the last piece they played in the sessions. And like, you know, that piece was like, it's just this little tune that I put together, and I love that piece of music. I still love it to this day. And it's one of my favourites. And they played it really beautifully. And then when we finished it, James Fitzpatrick, who was the contractor, said, you should go out onto the podium and thank the orchestra. So I kind of went out and went to the podium. So I said to everybody, you know, you played so beautifully, and I just kind of burst into tears. And it was like, you know, one of those things. And I guess it was a mixture of that piece of music, I love it, plus I was going to be leaving Rare. I never thought I'd ever want to leave Rare. I thought I'd be there forever, or I want to be there forever. And so I feel like that it was a kind of big build-up of emotion for me at that point. So that's probably why I feel Viva Pinata 2 has got a bit more of an emotional tie to me because of the time I wrote it and how I felt about it and how I was going to be leaving Rare. You know, so it's all kind of rolled into one.
Man, that's like tugging at my heartstrings. I'm like, I really need to stop sleeping on Viva Pinata 2, I guess. All right, we have another question submitted on the DK Vine Facebook page by Zach Miller. What have you found are the pros and cons of working freelance versus working as part of a company? Sort of a good follow-up to the answer you just had there.
Yeah, so, like, as a freelancer, it gives you much more freedom in as much as you can set your own hours and do what you like. And, like, I know that, but, so, being a staff composer at Rare, you know, it was a 9 till 5 job, right? So that was a fantastic work. For 12 years, nearly 13 years there doing that, that's a great training to get into, to kind of, you turn up at 9 in the morning and you start working on a piece of music, just like anybody starts, the guy outside starts doing the garden, starts digging the road, you start doing the checkouts, you know, it's just the same as that, right? So that's such a great regime to get into. So I'm super grateful for having been there all that time, doing 9 till 5, you know, and a lot of time working later because you had to get crunch time and all that, you know. So that was super great, but I know that I write better probably because of that first thing in the morning. So 8:45, 8:30, I can start working then. I can work till about 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and I'm pretty crap. After that, I get sleepy. It just doesn't work out for me. So at Rare, when I was doing that, I'd probably do more sound design or more sound effects in the afternoons because I find that more functional and creative. People are probably going to hate me for that, but that's the way I feel about it. And I feel musically I need to be on the ball. So in the mornings, I'm better at it. So I'm still at to this day. So right now, get the kids to school, you know, come back, 8:30, 8:45, I can start composing. I'll go to about 1 or 2 and I'll stop then. And I'll go and do the groceries, get the kids to school, whatever. And then if I'm really busy, I'll work again at night because I can work again at 7 at night onwards. But I need that little gap in the afternoon because I'm just not very good in that point. If I'm really absolutely mega busy, I'll try and push through it, but I'm just not great at that. And also I think it makes me, I'm a very workman-like composer. Like I don't sit in a darkened room and wait for the hand of the Lord to hand me a song. I'm not like that. I don't get that kind of, I don't need that, that kind of writer's block, I don't really get that. I might write something that's shit, but I'll write something. Mm-hmm. I don't sit there and ponder about the first note and can't quite get that. I just get on with it because I think being a staff composer really teaches you that. So I'm grateful for that. As a freelancer, I like the freedom. Of course, you know, as a freelancer, it can be feast and famine. You can have like a load of money, oh my God, then it's nothing for a year. Mm-hmm. It can easily be like that. You know, so, you know, I think that you have to be prepared for that, and you have to put money aside and be wise, and don't go, I've got loads of money, I'm going to go and buy a sports car, because you're probably going to have no money in about 6 months' time, you know. So it's probably not a good idea. So you have to be able to organise it right and think about it right. Because, like, you know, you can get paid a decent chunk of money, and you can think you're a millionaire. Obviously, I'm not that much money, but you can think you've got tons of bread. Oh, it's going to be great. Oh, let's go have a party. But then you might not get another gig for another year, and it's like, oh, I wish I'd spent all that money in the first 2 weeks, you know. So yes, I do like freelancing. One thing it has on a kind of different level, it's got me to see my kids a lot more. Like, you know, I do take them to school in the mornings. I'm about all the daytimes when they're in this, and when it's holiday time and all that, you know. So when you're working 9 till 5, after sometimes you don't see your kids very much. So I think that I'm very grateful for having this period of time where I've been freelance. It's been good for them. I mean, like they're 17 and 13 now, so they're older. But when they were younger, I missed a bit of that because I was working hard. You know, I was at a company somewhere. So it's good to be like that. I mean, you know, and freelancing is bloody hard. It's bloody hard in LA because LA is super expensive, and you have to make money to live. If you live in the middle of Idaho somewhere, you're probably going to be all right, you know. But you know, living over here, it's not that. It's tough, you know. It's expensive. So all that stuff really roll into one.
As someone who used to live in Los Angeles as a freelancer, he speaks the truth. Everything he just said. Oh God.
Yeah, freelancing sounds like it has a lot in common with being a lot of what you said resonated with me, like as somebody who works on YouTube, as far as sort of feast or famine and like trying to focus and like when you're at your best. And let's just say there's a reason I live in Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, we moved here because I'm super keen to do some movie stuff, right, some TV stuff. So I've done little bits of that, and I feel like being here, you need to be here to do that. I think when you're established, you could be in Timbuktu, but I think I'm not established in TV and film at all. So I need to be here for that chance meeting, that chance thing that might kick it off for me. So and I'm doing little bits and pieces here and there now. So I'm hoping that's going to grow. But I feel like you have to be here for that. I wasn't keen on doing that. I could be anywhere. So that's our main reason, I think, for being here. But obviously, as a Brit living in California, Southern California, it doesn't rain very often. It's, obviously the fires are horrendous and all the rest of it, but it's sunny most of the time, So as a British person, that's pretty phenomenal because, like, you used to have rain half the time, most of the time, and it's been cold. So we still love that whole it's sunny and warm most of the time thing,
So aside from video games, you just mentioned this, since going solo as a freelancer, you've also scored the music for an upcoming film called The King's Daughter, which bizarrely stars Pierce Brosnan. So I have to ask, is it your goal to score his entire life? And would you be willing to work with Daniel Craig?
I would love to work with Daniel Craig. Oh my God, every time I see a Bond movie, I just feel like I just wish I could ever go to a Bond movie. I know it's never going to happen, I just, I'd love to do that. And when we first moved to where we live in Agora Hills, the woman who lived in the house opposite to us was Pierce Brosnan's PA. And I was a bit like, Christ, everywhere we go is Pierce Brosnan. I can't get it's a bizarre thing. So I did that movie with two other composers, but it's done and finished, but it's just, they've been fighting over it for literally 3 years. So if it ever sees they spent $40 million on that movie. It's a lot of money, right? It's William Hurt, it's Kaya Scodelario, who's the last female lead out of The Maze Runner, and she's in The Last Pirates of the Caribbean, the English girl, she's pretty mega famous. I can't believe they spent all that money and the movie's not out yet. That's crazy. I also just did a good thing. I just did this thing called The Wrong Rock, which is a little short animation. And actually, the director is a guy called Michael Kaywood, who was at Rare when I was at Rare. He worked on Cameo, and he's since moved to LA, I guess, before me. And he's worked on quite a lot of AAA, movies, like the proper blockbusters, like Pirates of the Caribbean, Planet of the Apes, all that kind of Bumblebee, all that kind of stuff. And that's what he does now. And we got in contact on Facebook a couple of years ago, we just sort of, because we kind of knew each other from Rare a little bit. And then he started making an animation. Do you want to score it? I said, of course. So it's actually due out tomorrow morning at 9:00. Oh. So I'll be able to link that out to us, and I've scored that for him. Mike's worked at DreamWorks and all over the place. So it's super high quality animation. It's like it's DreamWorks quality. It's a little short 40-minute movie, but it's like, we did a lot of the festival circuit with it recently, but that's physically releasing it tomorrow. So that's been a really cool thing to do with him. And it's funny, we've got that Rare connection, so that's cool. When he lives in LA, it's just, so it's been a really great thing to do. So and I've done a few other little shorts here and there. So, I'm super keen to do that stuff. But, I think I just want to work on everything. From the tiniest mobile phone game to the biggest movie, I don't care. I just want to write music, right? So the more variety you have, the better it is. That's how I feel. So I will literally do the smallest mobile phone game to the sky's the limit, And I think most composers feel like that. I mean, you want to stretch yourself and, do it all.
Well, if the Broccolis are listening, he is perfectly willing to score Bond 26. So please.
I have a really tenuous connection to Barbara Broccoli. A friend of mine does know her. And when they announced recently that the composer had left the project or whatever happened to the new movie, I said, email Barbara Broccoli right now and tell her that I'll do it. He said, well, send me his music, I'll do it. But I didn't do it. I thought, there's no point, because she's going to go, who's this guy, so I didn't do it. But I do have someone that does genuinely know her. I thought it was quite bizarre,
Well, I need to get to the bottom of something, and I apologize for bringing this up. So,
right.
A few weeks ago, Platonic tweeted, and I quote, well, actually, this was Daily running the Platonic account, but I quote, according to urban legend, Grant Kirkhope almost caused Robin Beanland to crash his car with a potent post-curry fart. Grant Kirkhope's final produced sound, his legacy, could have been a deadly fart. Hashtag Fartgate. So you replied that you can neither confirm nor deny, but now that you've had some time to ruminate on it, would you like to clear the air, so to speak?
So that's not absolutely accurate. So what happened was, when we were at Rare, on a Sunday night, there was this awful nightclub, and we all used to go to it, called Jimmy Dean's, right? It's legend at Rare. We used to go on Sunday night, we used to get drunk, and we always used to feel completely shit on Monday morning. And we used to elect a driver to take us all. So me and Robin used to piggyback. One he'd drive, 1 week I'd drive, and then someone else would drive. It'd be like that. And so, and me and my wife used to have pasta on a Sunday night. That was just the thing we liked to do. And we used to always get this super hot sauce we used to take with the pasta. They used to give me horrendous farts. So as Robin pulled up in his car, I got in the car and did a massive fart, and it was so smelly he nearly threw up, and he had to go out the window of his car and just breathe fresh air because it smelled so dreadful. And that's what happened. It wasn't post curry. It was just that's what happened. It was a Sunday night fart prior to Jimmy Dean's. And that's a true story. So it did happen, but I think he just overreacted. I don't think it was that smelly. But he insisted on it. He was like, "Oh my God!" He round on the window, hang his head out the window as it was stationary, and breathe fresh air until it wafted away. So it's kind of true, not quite true.
I'm glad we've had this breakthrough, this journalistic breakthrough right here on the Kongversation, everybody. The big gaming sites are going to run this in the morning, I'm sure. Thank you.
Well, and speaking of your gut, let's just say a few of your colleagues' names and then get your immediate gut reaction, sort of a quick fire round here. All right, Graham Norgate.
Well, we used to call him Nozza or Spud sometimes because he's completely bald, so I used to call him Spud, and we used to call him Nozza Norgate. He's a good lad. I like Graham a lot. He's a good lad. He's a very funny man, is Graham.
All right, Robin Beanland.
One of my best friends. He was the best man at my wedding, and we've known each other for a long time. We knew each other in bands in Yorkshire, and that's how he first got to Rare, and that's how I got to Rare because he suggested it. So without him, I wouldn't be anywhere.
And David Wise.
Dave Wise, me and Dave didn't get along great when we first started Rare, but we ended up best of mates. And with me and Dave are my top laugh these days. He's a good lad, and me and him ended up singing in Dave's pub band at the end of my days at Rare. We used to good laugh doing that. And no, Dave's a good lad. He's a fantastic musician as well. So me and Dave, I love Dave to death. He's great.
That's the end of the quick fire round.
He could have picked better ones than that. Steve Males, Ed Bryan, come on.
Yeah, okay, who else? Go ahead. All right, Steve Males.
We want some dirt, come on. Steve
Males, Winky Boy, we call him. He's the shortest man in development and games. He's about 2 foot tall. Billy Belly, he used to have Billy Belly. Ed Bryan, Ginger. We used to call it Ed the Ginger Punk. Used to be, we used to just call it Ed the Shine now because he's got mostly shine rather than hair. Greg Miles, he was a judge because I used to always go to Greg, you like this piece of music? He'd go, yeah, it's all right. That's the best you could get out of him. Yeah, it'll do. Yeah, it's not bad. Never once said it was good, ever. So he used to just adjudicate everything because he was head of the game. So that was always it, Greg the Judge Miles. Or Mr. Ribs, I call him because he got so skinny, he's like Ribsy out of Grab of the Ghoulies. Used to call him Mr. Ribs.
I like how you all had, hopefully affectionate nicknames for each other.
Yeah, well, I was always Chimposs, Monkey Boy. That was my nicknames because, when we found out, bizarrely enough, through Robin, that when I was a kid, right, my hair was quite swept back. One of my mates used to say I looked like General Urko off Planet of the Apes, the original TV series, which you probably can't remember, you're too young. And one of my mates called me Urko. Robin found out about that, and so he passed it on. So Urko, Monkey Boy, Simeon, Chimposs, all those things just ended up being me, Chimpy. So it's bizarre I became the voice of Donkey Kong, really, because I was called Monkey Boy, all that, so that's where it comes from.
And speaking of which, Donkey Kong 64 just celebrated its 20th anniversary, and we got a question about it from Angry Ancestor on the DK Vine forum. He asks, what was it like being tasked with DK64? Was your approach to composing any different than it was with the Banjo games, because it ended up being tonally different from the DKC series, which is fitting as the gameplay was entirely different as well. Personally, Angry Ancestor says, I love the soundtrack, but how do you feel about it overall looking back?
So that was a funny time at Rare because Graham Norgate quit So he was doing. I think I was already doing Banjo-Tooie and DK64, and then Graham quit, and he was doing Jet Force Gemini and Perfect Dark. So Robin got to do Jet Force Gemini, and I was given Perfect Dark. So it's like I've got 3 games to do now at the same time. So over that year and a bit, that was a tough time for me because I was writing such a lot of music. I had to find some way of separating DK from Banjo-Tooie in my head because they're both platform games, right? So I always felt that Dave wrote sort of darkish soundtracks, I felt, for the DKC series. And that might not be what everyone else thinks, but I felt that way, like dark in how they sounded. So I tried to make DK64 slightly darker, I felt, than Banjo-Tooie. So that's how I separated it in my head. Whether or not that sounds like that to anybody else, I don't know, but that's what I thought it sounded like. So I tried to keep it slightly darker and less... Because Banjo and Kazooie had that kind of tritone, umpari, wacky oddballness to them that I wanted to capture in that game, and I felt like the DK wasn't that. It was a more serious character, and even though they're both jokey kids characters, right, I still felt DK was darker. So that's how I did it in my head, and I like the DK soundtrack, but I really like it a lot. It's just that it was so hectic trying to get through all those 3 games at the same time. I'd do a piece for Banjo, a piece for DK, a piece for Perfect Dark, back to Banjo, onto DK, perfect. I just round and round and round and round until it finished. And so I was only writing music for DK, only writing music for Perfect Dark. I was used to doing music and sound effects back then, because that's what we all did the same. We all did, in those days you got a game each. It was like you did sound effects and music for that game. Like Banjo was all me, all sound effects. Robin did the same for his games, and Graham likewise. Where Evelyn did the sound effects for DK, and Martin Penny did the sound effects for Perfect Dark, and also Dave Clinic helped me out Perfect Dark because I was so busy. I said, and Dave Clinic just joined the company, so I said, look, if you can do the cutscenes in Perfect Dark, I can handle the rest of it. And Dave did the cutscenes in Perfect Dark and also did the multiplayer stuff as well, which left me clear to do the levels. DK did all the music, everything did the sound effects, and Banjo-Tooie did all the music and all the sound effects as usual. So it was like that. It was hectic. So no, I like the DK soundtrack, and I love Crystal Caves. I like the Creepy Castle too. That was one because before I worked at Rare and I was trying to get a job at Rare, I was trying to write pieces to send to Rare to get a job, and the start of Creepy Castle, that piano thing, I'd written that before I was at Rare. That was one of the things that I wrote to try and get the job, and so I put that into that piece because I thought it fitted then. And then it goes into that kind of Adam's Family sort of clicky fingers thing. And also Chicago Stealth and Perfect Dark, I'd written that before I was at Rare as well, but I liked that bit, so I used that in that game. So yeah, I don't know. As I say, I like all the soundtracks that I wrote. So for me, DK's, to me in my head, it's darker than Banjo, but you might not think that.
No, that's a good way to compare them. It's always moodier, I think is the word we describe it.
Yeah.
In addition to the soundtrack, of course, as we already mentioned at the top of the show, you also voiced Donkey Kong in that game. And so Josh and I, we were talking about the game the other week, and we were joking that it sounds like the character in the game is always approaching sexual climax. And so I guess a follow-up question would be, did you study the mating habits of real gorillas in order to get the sounds just right?
Well, I don't know if you know, but in Twycross, where Rare's based, right, Twycross is like the tiniest village, there's nothing in it. There's like a pub and a school and a tractor sort of fixing place. That's literally it. But just up the road, about a mile up the road, there's a very famous zoo called Twycross Zoo. So I'd go up there and watch the monkeys, doing stuff, during the day, and that's where I got the inspiration. And I'm just lying, it's not true. Yeah, but there's a zoo, a very famous zoo there. The thing about doing the voice for DK was, as much of the voices were back in the day, I did them because no one else wanted to do it. And it was just quick. Like, I remember Evelyn said to me, Grant, no one wants to do DK, do you want to do it? I said, yeah, I'll do it. And it was like that. So most of the time, the voices that I did it in my office by myself, quickly with a mic, just stuck them in, right, done, onto the next thing, because no one wanted to do it. It wasn't really till Viva Pinata that people started to realise it was good fun. So there's lots and lots of dev guys did the voices in Viva Pinata for the animals. Lots of, Steve Mills did tons, Ed did lots, but lots of other people did it as well. So it was like, it was a fight to be on it at that point. Everyone liked it. But in the early days, no one wanted to do it. So I just did it. I did DK because no one wanted to do it. And then, of course, when Nintendo asked for the samples, I couldn't believe it. Like, it's like, what, you really, you want to use this? So passed them the samples and then used it for a bit longer, I think, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't even realize that at the time. Really, I didn't know how long it lasted for. So, I just did it in a low voice and then pitched it down a bit and gave everyone the samples and stuck them in the game. So all the "Oh Banana" and the "Okay" nonsense was just like that was what it was. It was like I did it because no one else wanted to do it.
Oh, and now it's iconic, and so everybody.
Yeah. That iconic thing is so weird. I remember when I first went to meet Davide in Paris and Romain Brio, who's the audio director. We were sat in the little side room in the super secret place because it was all secret, about being Mario Rabbids, And they were talking about the voices and how the voice of the Banjo-Kazooie was so iconic and how brilliant it was. And I was sort of saying, you know what? We thought they were totally shit, and we did it because we had no memory space. There was no other way to do it than have a few grunts and squeaks and pitch it up and down and mess around with it. And the fact that it now is 20 years later, it's iconic. It's incredible to us to think like that because we all thought, God, this is so crap. People are going to hate it. It's just the best we can do. And as I say, 20 years later, it's like, oh my God, what brilliant! It's amazing. It's iconic. It's like. We never thought that for 1 second,
That's wild. When we were talking the other week, I was like, this will always be what I think of as Donkey Kong's voice. Yeah, he sounded like a couple of different things over the years, but that's Donkey Kong to me. And it's also just so bizarre. Donkey Kong, even before that, was one of the most foundational, iconic characters in gaming. So it's just bizarre that people at Rare were just going around, "Hey, do you want to be Donkey Kong?" "Oh no, I can't be bothered."
Well, it wasn't even that. Evelyn just asked me, "Do you want to do it?" I said, "I'll do it," because I've done stuff on. I've been Mumbo Jumbo already, and Jinjos, and other bits and pieces that I've done in all the games. Like a lot of the baddies, just going, in Banjo-Kazooie and stuff like that. So, I just I'll do it. It's easy. It only take 10 minutes. That was it.
You've said that composing Mario music for Mario plus Rabbids was a dream come true, but then with the Donkey Kong Adventure DLC specifically. How did it feel returning to composing for Donkey Kong after almost 20 years? Was there any sense of I thought I was done with this shit, or was it more like a move over everyone, the king is back, make room?
No, it was just incredible. You kind of feel that you get to touch those properties once in your lifetime because it's so special. Like to touch Banjo or to touch Mario, whatever it is, like I have done, you kind of feel that's a once in a lifetime experience because it's just crazy for me to think that I got to do Mario and then to do DK again. When David said to me, "We're going to do a DLC, it's going to be DK," I was like, oh my God, and I got to do the DKL's theme again, which I love that theme from the DK64. That's one of the tunes that makes me cry as well. I love that little tune. And I did that quite early. When they pitched it to Nintendo, I wrote that tune for that. So I didn't write it for the game specifically, but we put it in the game anyway. And Davide was super keen for me to do a Donkey Kong rap, and I was really against that. I said, I really don't want to do it. I said, I know it sounds funny, but I'll just be crap at it. Like the Yooka-Laylee rap's even worse than the DK rap. I said, I tried to make it better, and it was just shit. And I said, I can't write that kind of music. I'm just not a credible rap hip-hop guy. I just don't know how that works. I'm not like that. I'm an older guy. I'm not built like that, right? And he was adamant we were going to do it. So I was so pleased when they decided not to do it in the end. I was like, yes, I don't have to do it, because I would have had to do it, So yeah, it was great to revisit that and to get to do the main DK theme again, the Deg's amazing theme. That was great. I really felt like I did a good job on that one, the Jungle Japes one. I really felt like I'd brought it up to the current day, So that was super great to do that. And then when I got to do the E3 thing and we had to conduct the band to the thing, that was another wacky thing that I didn't expect to ever get to do because, Dad, it first said to me, we're going to have an E3 trailer, of course, to show it off, and we'd like you to write a trailer. I said, okay, write a trailer piece, easy peasy, a couple of minutes long, a bit of DK, great. So I did it. David was like, oh no, I don't want to like that. It has to be like Fantasia, like it's all over the place. It has to match all the action, like Tom and Jerry, and I was like, all right, it's going to be a bit harder. So, I started to work on that, and they said, oh yeah, and by the way, we think we'd like you to perform it with a live band at E3. I was like, what? Like, are you crazy? I've just written this really complicated piece of music. It's like 7/4, 4/4, 3/4, all over the place to get to match up with the action, I said, if you told me that, I'd probably made it a bit bloody easier, Because I said, yeah, we want you to conduct it. I was like, oh, David, I said, I haven't conducted since I was at school, He's like, oh, Grant, it'll be fantastic. Come on, you will love it. You'll love, come on, you're a crap. Come on, like he does, Mr. Italian. So I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. So, absolute. It went from this is going to be easy to, I've got to compose it, I've got to write it in a certain style and write it for like a small bunch of players, mixing orchestral elements into the speakers to a click track, and then also conduct the bloody thing and don't look like an arsehole in front of 3-4 million people who are watching the live stream, right? You know, which is like no mean feat, really, especially when I didn't know what I was doing, you know. So, yes. So, that, you know, that was all fantastic, but at the time, shat myself, you know. There you go.
All right, well, from the DK Vine Twitter, we have a question from Plastasm. He says, was it awkward to see Miyamoto again when working on Mario plus Rabbids after you pulled his pants down at that party in the N64 days?
I didn't pull his pants down.
Now, to clarify, apparently that's not what happened. What you've said is that it was George Andreas whose pants you pulled down in a restroom in Atlanta during E3 97. You did it as a joke, but it just so happened that Miyamoto walked in right as you were doing it.
Well, he was sort of stood next to me, I think, at the time. It was quite bizarre.
So did Miyamoto remember you?
No, so I didn't get to talk to him. So at the E3 when he was there, I didn't get to meet him because Miyamoto is like a god, right? He gets escorted around by huge like my big bodyguards. So Davide knows him well, so he talks to me, that kind of thing. But I didn't talk to him, so I don't think he would have remembered that. I don't think it's something he would have remembered. And at the E3 with there was like I was in the back booth bit with the Ubisoft guys, and they all disappeared. And I thought, where they all gone? Then they all went for a picture with Miyamoto. And I sort of said, where were you? We took the picture. I was like, nobody asked me to take a picture with bloody Miyamoto. Why didn't you say you were taking it? So I missed that opportunity. So I guess that's the last time I'll ever see him. But yes, that was that. But unfortunately, not. No. So luckily, we didn't have to go across that bridge of like, are you the guy that pulled that guy's trousers down in the toilets? No. So that didn't come up.
Ironically, I know where you might be able to see him. So at E3, there is a restroom that all the Nintendo employees use. And if you just wait out there long enough, I'm sure you'll see him at some E3. But you probably don't want to have another greeting with him in that context.
Certainly not. And also, I might look a bit like a stalker if I'm sat around outside the restroom waiting for Mr. Miyamoto to turn up.
So, let's say someday down the road, many years from now, another studio takes a crack at a Banjo-Kazooie game. Would you offer your services if asked?
Of course, I'd love to do it. You know, that's the only way I can see another Banjo game happening. In all honesty, everyone thinks that I know secrets, and I really genuinely don't. Like, I mean, you know, I did know about Smash Brothers, but I haven't a clue what Rare get up to. Robin and me are still friends, but we're professionals. We wouldn't ask each other what we're up to. It's not what you do, right? It's, you know, it's like you're all working on your own thing, and it's all NDA, and you can't talk about it. And that's what it's like. So I haven't got a clue what Rare are up to. You know, I kind of feel like that would be the only way Banjo could get made. They'd have to get another studio, like they did with Kirising. Was it Helix did it, or whatever they called it? I mean, something like that. They'd have to get somebody else to work on it. They'd have to get a team of people who get the humour, who get it all. And I used to think it's not possible, but after seeing Davide's team deal with Mario and get it so completely right, you just need to find the right team of people who really feel passionate about it. Like Ubisoft Milan and who work on the Mario Rabbids game. You know, they love Nintendo to death. They're all Nintendo die-hard fans, you know. And so they treated every second of working on that game with utter reverence because they didn't want to break Mario. And, you know, and they did a fantastic job. Like, you know, when Davide presented the prototype to Mr. Miyamoto thought that they'd got the animations from Nintendo, but they hadn't. They just did it all hand by themselves. And they worked on it so diligently, they got it so perfect, Mr. Miyamoto couldn't tell the difference. I mean, that's what you want. You need a team of people, whoever it is, that Rare sanction and say, here's the IP, you work on it, that would do a Banjo game. You know, and is there a market for a game like that? You know, is there really enough people out there who want to buy a Banjo-Kazooie game? Like, Yooka-Laylee 1, I think, got pretty close. A lot of people didn't like it. It was a bit because they forgot what it's like to wander about a level and not know where you're going. People forget about what it's like. A genuine 3D platform usually goes, there you are, find your own way, there's no signpost, get on with it. And it can be a bit infuriating. And I kind of think, because there's been a lack of 3D platforms, people forgot that was what it's like, and they were like, well, I don't know what to do, I'm sick, I can't see what's going on, the camera's terrible. That's what it's like in a 3D platform game, right? So, I don't know, it's hard. Is there a market for Banjo? I mean, judging by the Smash reaction, I'd probably say there is. But it would have to be righter than right. It would have to be absolutely perfect banjo game. Not too big, not too flabby. Keep it concise. No, don't make it into a gigantic behemoth. Make it something concise and you know, a mid-sized game with plenty of exciting features in it and plenty of new things. You know, I'm sure we can easily construct another fun story with Grunty for definite, no doubt about it in my mind. You can easily, I've got an idea that I think would work for Grunty that I think would be great, you know, to bring her back. Even though she's dead, etc., etc. You know, so I really feel like it could be done, but Rare would need to find, or a studio would need to approach Rare and say, we really love Banjo-Kazooie to death. We think we can do a job with it. Let's do a prototype. Let's do a little slice of a level for you to show you what we can do, and see what happens. You know, that's what I think. I mean, I think that's the only way it would happen. And I genuinely, hand on heart, have no insight into that whatsoever. If someone out there's right now making a banjo game, I know nothing about it. I'd love to do it, but, you know, lots of times when they do remakes, they dump the original composer and get another composer. That's completely possible too. They could easily find another composer to do it. If it would sound right, I don't know. But I'm sure there's plenty of guys who could do a better job than I did. You know, so it's just, you know, if they want me to do it, of course I'll do it. But if they don't, that's that. I wouldn't be doing it. So I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, that's like something that I think we've only sort of seen in the gaming industry in the last little bit. It's kind of just getting to the point where you can have like teams of professionals within the industry who grew up with these like these famous IPs and who have that sort of reverence and that passion to see them done and done well. And like that's something that I'm really excited about and looking forward to like seeing more of.
Yeah, because I feel like the people that were of the right age group playing those games back then are now of age to be in companies. Mm-hmm. You know, it's that they've grown up and they're now working in a games company or whatever they're doing, you know, as for a job. I feel like it's taken that amount of time period for people to grow up to be like that. So I do feel like there's, you know, I know from my Twitter feed there's plenty of people in the industry that love Banjo-Kazooie. You know, I hear it all the time. You know, when people try to hire me, they always mention Banjo or Donkey Kong or Perfect Dark or Golden or whatever it is, you know. So I know that age group now exists in sufficiently senior positions in companies that they do remember that stuff. So I think it's completely feasible that Banjo could definitely reoccur. It would just need to be a studio or a bunch of people that approach Rare, that Rare think could do a good job, or create a prototype and say, well, look at this, we've done this, what do you think of it? You know, sometimes people make prototypes without permission. They'll make a prototype and show it to a company and say, we've done this without permission, we're not trying to sell it, but look what we've done, can we please use this? And they might say, yeah, great, get on with it, you know. So I kind of feel like, I mean, Davide knocked up a little demo in Unity for Mario Rabbids. That's how he sold it to Mr. Miyamoto. You know, so it's completely doable. Just got to find the right bunch of people.
Somebody out there, get to work, please. So, finally, now we normally let listeners call into the show and leave us messages on our DK Vine hotline at 1-202-630-VINE-8463. Except for this episode. We did not let them do it on this episode. But since we have you here, Grant, would you mind recording us a greeting for our hotline as Donkey Kong?
The thing about that is, it has to be pitched down, right? So I could, in my voice, won't sound like it. You'd have to take it and pitch it down.
Oh, I can pitch it down. No problem.
I mean, what can I say? What do you want to say?
Whatever you want. It could just be an okay. It could just be something about a banana. I don't care.
I have to think about what it sounded like back in the day. I might have my GK samples handy on my computer. Let me look. It's possible. I feel like I might have some. Just turn my speakers on. I feel like I might have some samples here that I can. It's broke that. So let's have a look. N64, Donkey Kong, sound waves. What are these? This sounds like me talking about it. Hang on. That's me doing his banana.
Banana.
That was different.
Banana.
That sounds like another character in the game. I guess that was in DK. Let's have a look down here. What's this? That's a DK beat.
God.
Oh, yes, I've got them all sat here, all ready to go. He's an evil laugh. Yes. Hang on. Groans. What's this? Must be for the ghosty level. Oh, he's a jack laugh. That's that jack laugh for the jack, the baddie, the guy at the end. Jump attack.
Jump attack.
Here we go.
Double hand attack.
Double hand attack.
What's it?
That's it. That's our DK.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. All right.
Yeah, I'll have to find. I can't find the banana one or okay or things it'd be called something that I can't remember what I called it. It's probably called something stupid. Like what's that one? I might be in the wrong folder. It might be. Oh yes, I think I'm in the wrong. Hang on, then. Let's just a minute. I've got a folder here that's just called shite. That's obviously. That's funny.
If it helps, I could throw a YouTube video your way.
I think so. I could do. You have to pitch it down. I've done this a lot of years, right? So you have to forgive me. I have to be something like, "Oh, banana," something like that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah.
Hello. I can't speak in his voice. Hello. Oh, banana. I'm DK. Something like that. Is that any good? Okay. Okay. It'd be like that. You have to pitch it down and see if it comes out.
Yeah, it's too late. My childhood is ruined.
It's not going to sound anything like the actual game. I'm trying to look for the actual stuff here. I can't find it. So I must have called it. It must be in a different folder. Like, yeah, it just looks to me like it's. I can't find it.
Now, if it helps, I could throw a YouTube video your way that I know starts with it, with the okay.
Yeah, see, you sound more like DK than I do. So I just went like, okay, oh, banana. Is that any better?
Oh yeah, no, I can hear that. If I pitch that down, I think that'll be perfect. So it'll be an experiment. Yeah, we'll.
Yeah, what else did he say? Okay, oh, banana. Did he say anything else? What else did he say? Was that it?
That's pretty much it, besides the grunts and groans. And we need to keep it PG for all the families who call in. So, yeah. Thank you so much for being here, Grant. Seriously, this was a pleasure. Any messages you'd like to give to our listeners before you head out?
Well, I'd like to say, check out The Wrong Rock tomorrow morning. 9 o'clock PST, it'll be out. And I'd like you to watch it. And let me know what you think of the soundtrack and what you think of the movie. It's a little short, but it's fun, it's nice. It's super high quality DreamWorks sort of stuff. So I'd love for your gang to listen to it and watch it and see what they think.
Yeah, and you can let Grant know what you think at Twitter at Grant Kirkhope. Very easy to remember. Thank you so much, Grant, for being here.
Okay. Oh, banana.
Is that any better?
This has been a File 2 production.
Rico.
Oh, by the way, Grant, before you leave, do you have any thoughts on Mario Golf for the Game Boy Color? Grant?
What happened?
Grant? Fuck, I did it again! Oh, fuck!